right, let's hit the field.
It is Wednesday, May 28th, and the Yankees were playing Game 3 of their three-game set against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and they were going for the sweep behind Clark Schmidt, who was trying to bounce back after kind of a tough outing against the Rockies. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Hey, all right. How's my late night crew doing? Guys, that was not the most wild game in the history of Major League Baseball. You know, a 1-0 game. It didn't really feel like a pitcher's duel, but it was. It was just a lot of what they would call comfortable 0 for 3s for guys tonight. Schmidt and Kikuchi, neither one of them was striking out a ton of guys, but they just had easy innings. 6 shutout innings for Clark Schmidt. Kikuchi went 5 innings and gave up 1 run. He did allow 9 base runners. You'd like to get more than 1 run when the opposing starting pitcher gives up 9 base runners in 5 innings, but you'll take it. And the Yankees sweep, and they have won now 5 in a row.
Wow, winning.
And now a day off tomorrow after this 1-0 win, and then they'll take on the Dodgers. And we will preview that series. We're going to have a little bit about them later on in this show, and then we'll talk about them tomorrow with Clint Pasillas, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for that. Let's get to the recap.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Now, typically, I would want a little bit more action than a 1-0 game, but because it's the West Coast, it made it kind of easy to watch, easy to pay attention to. There wasn't a ton to keep up with. It was just like sack fly in the first inning, and then it was just a bunch of zeros for both sides. Judge got intentionally walked in the first inning and in the second inning. That's the first time that's happened in 71 years. Gene Woodland, the last guy, that was August 30th, 1953. So we had, in the first inning, Volpe with the sack fly. But other than that, there was not a lot of offense. I mean, we had doubles by Goldschmidt, Grisham, and Volpe. We had a lot of strikeouts. Grisham struck out 3 times. Dominguez and LeMahieu both struck out 2 times. Everybody in the starting lineup struck out at least once for the Yankees tonight. Goldschmidt continues to rake against lefties. And the bullpen stepped up in a big way. When guys are tired, Ian Hamilton, 1 2/3 innings of shutout baseball, couple of strikeouts. Tim Hill got a big out in the 8th inning, and then Mark Leiter closed it out. And the Yankees take this one 1-0.
Yankees win. Yankees win.
I think tonight might have been a tough night to hit for the Yankees, and it's easy to say because they only scored 1 run. But you got Kikuchi with kind of a funky windup, right? He's got that hesitation, and he holds the ball down low. And then Stevenson pitched, who you hadn't seen in a couple of years because he's been injured. And then later on you had Burke, who was throwing across his body. You had Detmers, who struck out 3 guys. It just seemed like a bunch of guys who don't match up well with the swing planes of our hitters. Like, it was just where the timing was disrupted in the case of Kikuchi. Just a tough night to be a hitter. But luckily, the Yankees pitching stepped up and got it done. And tonight, there were a lot of candidates for the belt. We had 2 hits from Goldschmidt. You had a good night from Anthony Volpe. The bullpen obviously did the job. Ian Hamilton got 5 outs, but I'm going Clark Schmidt. And partially because he turned it around after a tough start against the Rockies. You remember in that outing, he threw too many pitches. He was out of the game early. So I was worried tonight that, he wouldn't be able to go deep into the game because against the Rockies, he couldn't get through 6 innings. And this is a night when, again, the bullpen has been taxed. Since Fernando Cruz went down, the bullpen has gotten a little too much work. And you needed length from the starter, and he was able to get 18 outs tonight, so nice job by Clark Schmidt. Let's examine his start in a little bit finer detail. Pitcher spotlight. And it was a tough act to follow. Yarbrough was so great the other night. Then Rodon dominated last night with 10 strikeouts, but he was definitely up to the task. He did have to pitch out of a couple of jams. It felt like he was throwing more pitches than he did. 99 pitches in 6 innings. That's, par for the course. 69 strikes. He was pounding the zone. I don't know why, but I felt like it was more of a struggle than that. He had guys on base. It seemed like there was, a lot of tough foul balls, guys battling. But you look at the cumulative numbers, and they're really good. And his ERA for the season now is down under 4. It's down to 3.95. And look, he has not been amazing this year, but tonight was a very positive step in the right direction. So let's talk about this series at large. So we got Ryan Yarbrough's best outing yet the other night. He was phenomenal. We had the big three-run double, from Volpe in that game. He had a good series. We got a call about that from Willie.
Hey, Derek, this is Willie. Volpe got 5 RBIs so far in 3 games. They better start intentionally walking.
Oh. Yeah, they were super careful with Judge tonight, man. Carlos Rodon obviously continues to pitch lights out. ERA under 1 in his last 8, under 1.5 in his last 8 starts. It's about 1.2 something. Ben Rice went deep yesterday. He's been swinging a good bat lately. I felt like he got robbed today. He hit the ball hard. Look, I still don't know what you're going to do. When Stanton comes back, you got to keep finding this guy ways to get into the lineup. He hits the ball hard. Devin Williams had a near meltdown, almost imploded like a cheap submarine. Judge basically contained in this series. Now, today he did walk a couple of times, but the average has fallen down to 391, so he's mortal. But he did not go deep in this series, and usually he hits pretty well out there in Anaheim. Hopefully he's saving it for the Dodgers. I hope he plays this series with a chip on his shoulder. And then Clark Schmidt finished off the series with a nice victory. So let's go ahead and take a look at the standings right now. Yankees now 15 games over 500. They have a .636 win percentage. They are up by 7 games on the Tampa Bay Rays, who are just a game over 500. The Blue Jays, a game under 500, 8 games back. The Red Sox continue to struggle, 27-31. And I think they might be cooked. I just don't think that they've got what it takes. Bregman's going to be out for a while with an injury. And the Orioles definitely cooked, 19-36. They look awful. Would not be surprised if they end up, selling off some of their assets. Batista, I've mentioned, if they shop him around, I know it would be tough to get him in the division, but you can do it. He'd be somebody that I'd be willing to take a flyer on. Tigers, 37-20. They lead the American League Central by 6. Guardians, 30-25. Man, they were a hell of a matchup last year in the playoffs, those two teams. And then, we got to face the Guardians. But Tigers are a tough matchup for the Yankees. And Scubo is just absolutely filthy. Twins, let's hope that they win the division. Let's hope they can figure it out because the Yankees have no problems with the Twins in the postseason. Royals, 7 games back. I still feel like they have a really good squad. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is an exciting player. They could be in the postseason. The Yankees obviously beat them last year in the American League Division Series, courtesy of Stanton, who's coming back soon. White Sox already 18.5 back in the Central. I miss those 90s White Sox teams, with Robin Ventura and Frank Thomas. Baseball's better when the White Sox are good. Right? When all the major markets have good teams, baseball just seems to be a lot more fun. Mariners 30-24. They lead the American League West by a half game over the Astros. Rangers 4.5 back, but under 500. Angels 5.5 back after tonight's loss, and the Athletics 23-33. In the National League, Phillies up by 2 over the Mets now. I saw Soto down to 224 with the average, and the OPS around 750. It's getting to the point now where we're a third of the way through the season. It's going to be tough for him to rebound and have a good year statistically. NL Central, the Cubs lead by 3 over the Cardinals. And then out west, where the Yankees are headed to play the Dodgers, they are 34-22, 2 games up on the Padres, who the Yankees defeated in a 3-game series not too long ago, and the Giants just a game back of the Padres at 31-25. Dodgers pitching is in trouble. Let's go ahead and preview that series. All right, so obviously it is a World Series rematch. One thing that's going to be fun this time, or, perhaps not fun if you're a Yankees fan, Shohei Ohtani is hitting right now. Got 20 home runs. He is hitting much better than he was in the World Series. And LA's pitching is going to be tested, right? Their bullpen has had some issues. They've got a ton of injuries. Snell, Glasnow, Sasaki, Kopech, Trinan, Yates, Phillips, Gratterall, all are injured right now. But I think the series is going to be fun either way. 3 nationally televised games. Max Fried is pitching in this series. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is pitching in this series. 2 legitimate aces. I wish they were facing off, right? But Fried pitches Friday, Yamamoto pitches Sunday. I'm very curious to see what happens with Will Warren in Game 2 of the series. He's been terrific for about a month. His stuff is phenomenal. He misses a ton of bats. But, this kind of pressure, national audience against the world champs who are stacked, this could either be a real thrust forward for him into the spotlight, or it could be kind of like a setback that kind of interrupts this really good stretch that he's been on. But this is what separates the men from the boys. This is the kind of series, the challenge that you want if you're a professional athlete. I'm really looking forward to seeing that start. And then no word yet on who pitches Sunday for the Yankees. It could go with Carlos Rodon on regular rest. I would do that, even though Ryan Yarbrough has been great. It's his spot in the rotation. But I would go with Rodon against the Dodgers because, quite frankly, I want the Yankees to win 2 out of 3, and I trust Rodon right now in that series, in that game against Yamamoto. Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, obviously out, 2 really good pitchers. And they got Clayton Kershaw back, but he pitched today, so we're not going to see him in that series. I think the Yankees have a good chance to take 2 out of 3. And honestly, if they do start Yarbrough, how satisfying would it be? A quiet spot starter with no hype if he outpitches the $325 million man on national TV. That would be like when Brad Halsey outpitched Pedro on Sunday Night Baseball that one time. So we got a couple of super chats here that I'll pull up. Brian Bashman says, Hamilton, Leiter, Hill. What genius is responsible for getting these guys? And then Brian Bashman also says, who's going to get more wins this year, Max Fried or the Rockies? You know what? I'll take Fried. I'll take Fried in that one. And then Milwaukee Dan says Escara could have gotten the belt. Great framing in the 9th. Yeah, that last strike call, it was kind of a late call, and I'm not sure it was correct. I'll be interested to see the ump scorecard tomorrow. One more super chat. Hoodie says, is our roster currently deep enough to win the World Series? Absolutely, I think it is. We'll talk more about that after this quick word from Arena Club.
If you're a card collector or you'd like to get into card collecting, may I suggest Arena Club and slab packs, which means that you can rip the packs digitally and, of course, get the card that you want. It's also the most trusted name in the game, and I would rather rip packs these days on my phone than sit next to you and have you grabbing one of my physical packs if I was grabbing one.
Yeah, you don't need me grabbing your packs because last time you grabbed one, it ended up like this card. So let's not have that, and that's why Arena Club is great. They send them to you in these fancy protectors like this Scout Braun card that we have here, and they'll come safe. They're already graded, or you could do like I do and just leave my cards in the showroom and never actually see them physically.
Yeah.
But they're safe, protected, and if I want to sell them, I can.
Buy, sell, trade. They offer full transparency, showing every card in the slab pack with the likelihood of pulling each one so you know exactly what's available before you buy. Get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL.
All right. So typically this is where we play voicemails. I do have one voicemail to play. Another one called in, and I want to give a shout out to this guy. I can't play your voicemail. You call in all the time. You got to speak up. I can't hear you, but you did say it was your birthday, so I didn't catch your name, but happy birthday to whoever always calls in and kind of whispers. But yeah, definitely have a great birthday. Save Situation called in.
Hey, Derek, it's a save situation. Got a point to make. Grisham, listen, he's been great. I mean, he's hit better than I ever thought he would. He's great defense all the way around. But I think we're going to see, we're seeing a little bit of a correction now. And, okay, it's coming at we don't like to see it, but it's coming at the best time it could. I mean, Bellinger was really struggling, and Grisham stepped up to the plate. So that's the kind of things that you'd like to see during a really successful season. Not everybody's going to have a...
Yeah, I agree with you. You got to have guys step up when other guys cool off. Look, Grisham's been fantastic. I'm not saying he won't go on another hot streak, but it's clear that he has cooled off a little bit. We had a couple of comments here about, the World Series. Let me just go back and find the one where someone said that they feel more comfortable in this year's roster than they did with the team last year in winning the World Series. And I have to say right now, I agree. It sucks that we don't have Garrett Cole. It sucks because we think of him as like this ace in the playoffs. But I don't think any of us were counting on Rodon pitching as well as he has and Max Fried pitching as well as he has. Now, we knew Max Fried was going to be good. If you had asked me before the season, what would Max Fried do? I'd say, 3.5 ERA, But there's a solid chance that he's going to have a sub-2 ERA right now. Having those two guys in your playoff rotation, it's kind of got like a Johnson Schilling feel to it right now, the way they're thrown. Now, things can change. We got a long way to go. We got 4 months left. Guys get hurt, guys tire, guys go through slumps, they lose the feel. But right now, if the playoffs were starting, I'm taking the Yankees. I'm sorry, I'm taking the Yankees. And as Frankie Baseball points out, Yankees have 2 of the top 10 pitchers in the American League right now. BDH Claps saying, sweep, get the brooms out, baby. And Stephanie McAllister wraps it up nicely, says, I'm happy. 100%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night. It is 12:47 in the East. Sorry these West Coast shows are a little bit shorter, but, it's difficult. It's difficult. We're all very, very tired. So I'm going to shave about 5 minutes off and just hit the sack. We got a new outro, though. Check it out. If you made it this far, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and join our community. You can also be a part of the show by calling in at 718-899-1068. Also, part of the way that we maintain and fund all of this is through NYYDesigns.shop. Check it out now. Get all sorts of fun Yankees merch, hats, hoodies, zip-ups, beanies, mugs, you name it. We've got it. Check it out, NYYDesigns.shop. And check out Pinstripe Territory on all your favorite podcast platforms. We are the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We're here for post-game shows after every single game, and we're here before a lot of games to talk about the game, preview the lineup, the pitching matchups, and things like that. And we're here all off-season to talk about the latest in Yankees rumors, news, etc. Join our community. We'll see you next time.